new upcoming project is a total of 6 chairs. I'm going to clamp that right now. Okay, my first day back at work. Oh, I am going to finish these chairs that I started in the winter. And yeah, I'm just doing some cleaning and freshening up because I can't work in a dirty spot. And this just, it's not filthy, it's just dusty and all those little ladybug things. So, oh, I can't stand bugs. So I vacuumed, moved some furniture around. I still have to straighten some of this up and then get my floors totally washed so that I just feel good. I don't know, I can't work on things if it's dirty. Oh, and look at all these ladybugs. I don't know, can you see them? Oh, I hate those things. I hate them, hate them, hate them. That's my garage door. I hate bugs. So this week's project is a set of 6 dining room chairs. They are Ethan Allen, cherry, I believe. Beautiful little chairs. Windsor-back chairs. The customer brought down 3 at a time. So I'm still working on the first 3. I started it in the winter and it was too cold to finish them. And I didn't want to heat the barn this year just because of financial purposes. So I left off on the first one. This was the original finish removal with Denatured Alcohol. And so I got a lot of that old finish off. I have more to go. So I'm going to start with the one that I left off. And then I have 2 more. And like I said, I hope to have them all done this week. Hopefully, at least by early next week. Yeah. So it's a mild restoration. And when I say mild, I mean, you know, we're trying not to add a lot of heavy stains. I'm trying not to touch the bottom of the chairs because they're in pretty okay condition as far as I can see at first glance. So it's mainly the seats and the back, the upper back. And I just want to clean up some of the splats here. You can see that it's very dirty. Yeah, so, but the denatured alcohol with a little bit of steel wool, light steel wool, 4-odd steel wool. I'm trying to take the finish off and just mainly leave that surface without marring it. Now this has some pretty good diggers in it, but once I remove this finish, I'm going to try to iron out any of those dents. It's merely dents, probably people's keys. You know, you sit down with keys in your pocket, and that's what does it. This one's pretty dirty. So yeah, the hands and the keys. This is a pretty big digger right here. So we'll do something with that. But a lot of these I think we can get out. But look at this beautiful cherry, huh? It's gorgeous. Really, really pretty. So I'm excited about getting it done. I'm going to start with covering all the legs with plastic so that I'm not going to drip anything onto the legs. I wrapped the lower chairs completely in plastic, and here I'm going back to the denatured alcohol to start. I already repaired the broken backsplat in the original video. So here I'm using denatured alcohol. I was hoping this would remove the finish enough for me to just sand it lightly, iron out the stains, and then bring the finish back with some more shellac, but this didn't end up working. This is a really good way to remove a shellac-based finish. And what I usually do is I have one hand with the 4-aught steel wool and the other with a paper towel to wipe it off. I'm just using some mineral spirits to clean off that denatured alcohol. And you can see how nasty that looks. It just gets gummy from hands, and if you're using Pledge and all those, store-based products to shine up your furniture, I mean, once I started refinishing furniture, seriously, I would never touch my furniture with that stuff because it's so gross, in my opinion. And it just builds up, and then you can't clean it anymore. So yeah, but see how nicely the denatured alcohol takes it off. And so then I will just show you to the right here is where I haven't done yet, and you can see the difference from that side. So it still appears a little stained, but it's clean. So here I'm using a 240 grit sandpaper. That was wishful thinking. I ended up increasing it to a lower grit, a 120 grit, and I sanded the entire front surface of the chair's back, but it still didn't look how I wanted. I was trying to get a picture of some of those dents, and you can see in this video, you can see how deep those scratches are. And I want to see if I can ease up some of these dents. I'm going to put a hot iron on it with a dampened cloth. And I don't have any water in my iron, but it's going to look like it. I just have a little dampened cotton cloth. And truth be told, I could have used one with it's not a lint-free cloth, and I didn't realize it until I put the iron to it. So I got a little lint on the chairs, but you can see all the steam. But it worked pretty well. It did. It made a little bit of a difference, so I won't have to, I'll fill some of them if they're really, really deep. And the others, I'll probably just leave it as a mark of time and a part of their personality. Yeah. It helped a lot, though. Helped a lot. And now I'm going to be even more hopeful and go over it with a 600 grit. And that actually works really well on the back supports. It's so smooth, but that did not work on the seat. The seats just needed a lot more help. Look at all the leaves. The mountain always blows leaves down my way. And I haven't raked at the beginning of the year yet. So I gave in and started using a stripper. I only want it on the front of the seats, so I'm carefully applying it so it doesn't scooch onto the back. And the tapes around the edges should prevent any from dripping down the surface onto the front of the chair and the legs. And also, you can't see it, but I have a full face chemical, it's not a chemical mask, but I have the chemical filters in the mask. You just can't see it. I hate the smell of stripper. No matter what you do, you're always smelling that stripper. But I don't like weak strippers that smell good. I only want to use strippers that actually work, because I have no patience with it. I don't want to spend a lot of time doing it. Yeah, it is satisfying when you pull off the material, but to me it's like, oh, I just hate stripping. So I want to get it one and done. I don't want to mess around with it. I don't want to keep applying it. Although, you do. I probably, I don't know, I probably applied it 2 or 3 times but in a continuous way. I applied it, I wiped it down, I applied some more, and then I spot applied it until I got all the finish off, and it worked pretty well. So this morning, I'm going to do a little bit of sanding now that I have taken most of that finish off. And as I say, this one looks beautiful. This one came out really nice. I guess it wasn't as bad as the others, but I'm going to take a soft sponge with 120 grit, and I'm going to go around just to here. And then I will also do the upper back just to make sure that finish is gone, because I'm going to put an oil on it first. So that's going to take a couple of days to dry. This is the worst one. So hopefully with a sanding sponge on the, on the power sander, I'll be able to make that look a little bit better. And this one isn't too bad. Yeah. I'm using 220 grit. Okay, so it may look odd to you, and that's because I roughed out the finish. I'm not removing all of the finish. Okay, so I just took it down enough that it's going to take my shellac. And here by the Windsor-back, what I want to do is rough up the finish to make it look cleaner, because it has some yucky parts to it. And what did I do? I went over it with some mineral spirits and denatured alcohol. And so that kind of took some of the finish off. And here, I do not want to remove the finish. I do not want to make the chairs look like they don't match anymore. So it's kind of a tough call. I mean, number one, the customer, he doesn't want the chairs to be totally done over. So he merely wanted the seats and the backs to be freshened up and cleaned up. But I have to do it so that it all goes together. So in saying that, I couldn't just remove the finish with my denatured alcohol. So I ended up sanding, and that didn't work that well. So I ended up stripping it. Now I'm sanding it down to the bare wood on this part only. So now, when I bring it back, I have to make it mostly match. So on here, I'm using my 220 grit, and I'm just softly smoothing it out. And I'm going to freshen it up with a new finish and see what it looks like. If it needs a little color correction, I'll do it then. With the backsplats, I'm going to use some of my 4-aught steel wool, and I am just going to gently rub those out so they're soft. Again, I'm not going to remove the finish. So that's my plan. Will it work? I don't know. I'm going to have to cover this once I see what I have on the bottom. And like I say, I'm going to try putting an iron to it again. It's a lot more work than I thought, but it's always that way. Chairs are really, really hard to do. And truth be told, there's just no way to do them cheaply. Most people would opt to go out and buy a new set of chairs. But really, you know, this is really the way to go. You want to keep these things. These are beautiful. And I hope they're beautiful in the end. So, yeah, I'm going to keep on going with my 220, and I will catch up when I get to the steel wool on the back splats. I broke my camera holder, so I'm just going over the chairs with a little bit of mineral spirits, and just to get the dust off. I vacuumed them off, and now I'm just getting the rest of the dust off. Plus, I'll get a good look at how they look and formulate my plan for just doing a little more hot iron on there. They look pretty good. And here I have to be careful because I don't want to alter the profile of the chair. I'm listening to the animals screaming up there, so probably a squirrel. Yeah, so here we are today. I stripped down the chairs, and they came out pretty good. Stripped and mostly sanded. I did a first coat of shellac just to see what the base would patterns and colors to look like, and it's beautiful cherry, so it's really nice. I got a lot of the scratches out after ironing it for the second time and lightly sanding to remove the deepest scratches. There's still a few scratches, but you know, they're old chairs. And yeah, so today what I brought was some, a can of liquid shellac, and I'm going to start by putting a little pigment dye into the shellac and seeing if I can get a good enough color with just my natural pigments. If not, I will try a few different stains just to see what it looks like. So this one is dry, and then I have the second one out, and I have to do light sanding, but it has some good color. I probably will have to use a stain on it, but so you can see what it looks like without anything. This one is not done yet, so we have that, compared to that. It's pretty nice. I'm happy with that. And I'm going to just hit a few spots with a few of my dye pens, just to finish those off after the shellac. I always start with the lightest color first and then add my darker colors if I need them afterwards. And yeah, so, but I'm trying to get it looking good with as natural a product as I can. Now I have to get it so that it matches the rest of the chair, the depth of the natural green. And so that's a bit of a challenge. My goal is to make the color is probably the easiest part, getting the colors to coordinate. But back in the days when they made these chairs, they used almost a paint stain, and what it does, it's very opaque. The stain is very opaque, almost what we would think of today as a gel type stain. And we really love to enjoy the wood grains right now, so I'm going to try to, number one, match the color, and number two, get the grain depth as light or as transparent as I can without not matching the backs, which might sound funny. So that the back of the chairs, and so I'll show you. The back of the seat, it's a very opaque type of finish, and it hides a lot of the grain. And what I want to do is to be able to see the grain, but I don't want it to stick out so much that the chair doesn't match itself. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing today. So yeah, this is the liquid shellac, and then I have some burnt umber. I'm actually going to mix several pigments together. here I have the red iron. I'm just trying to match the back, a little bit of yellow ochre, I think that is. And yeah, I'm going to mix those together. It ends up being a little bit too red, but that's how color is. There's two ways you could do it. You could do one color at a time. I could have started with the raw umber, but I knew I was going to need some warmth in there, so I just thought I'd hit it with the reds and golds that I know it does need. And staining with shellac is a very modest way to do it. The trickiest part about doing this is wiping it quickly. It's unlike a stain. The shellac will start to dry really quickly, so you have to wipe it down or it's going to get sticky. So you want to wipe it before it gets sticky, and it's just a little different method, but the color is very, very modest, and it's a great way to stain if you're not exactly sure how deep you want to go or the tones in the color. You want to just add some pigment to your shellac. It's a very, very fun thing to do, and it always comes out nice, and it's very easy to alter. Here I've got the, I think that's raw umber. I'm going to add a little bit more raw umber because I know that it's just a little bit too red. And this is going to be better, but it's still not going to be exactly what we want. So my next thing is to, off camera, I did one more application with some fresh shellac, a little bit of denatured alcohol, and just raw umber. So that really gives it a nice brown background, and that was just what it needed. And then I'll catch up with you in just a little bit, and you can see how it came out. And I did the upper backs just one time, and it's a little blotchy, but I'll do a few more coats, and then I'll be going over the back splats and the whole thing all together in the end, you know, just to make sure that everything is color coordinated. This still looks quite red, and you can, now that you're looking at the red, you can almost see the green back here near the Windsor-back. Yeah. And I actually don't have any green, so I don't know if I'll have to buy more pigment or if I can make it work with some of the raw umber, because raw umber is more of a cool color, and I did put raw umber in it, but perhaps what I'll do is mix up some fresh shellac and denatured alcohol, and then just put straight raw umber in it on the next coat and see how that looks. It's a tricky thing. It's fun though. It's fun, challenging doing it. So after the shellac, I want to go over it with the steel wool again, and it's 4-aught steel wool, and make it nice and smooth again. It's really looking good. I'm amazed that those scratches came out, but it always amazes me. And so now the trick is to get the opacity to be similar in the front as it is in the back. I thought I did this off camera, but this is the straight shellac with a little bit of denatured alcohol and just the raw umber. And it's going to just add a little bit more of the brown. Okay, so I am going to try a stain. It's an oil stain, and it's a premium teak, and it's made by VAR. And I'm going to try a coat of that to see if I can't bring it to a little bit more opacity. I really like the color, but I want to deepen it. And what my goal is to do is to add opacity without hiding that grain. So yeah, let's see if we can do that. Okay, that's not bad. And I am going to put on a second coat of that oil stain. I'll do it off camera, but you can count that as being done. Now that's going to need to dry overnight as well. The color is really good, and the opacity isn't bad, but I think one more coat of the oil will make that even closer as far as the opacity from the back to the front. Let's see. Yeah, and I do have some Helmsman spray, but I'm also going to hop out and get some clear lacquer. So yeah, I might do the lacquer first. I think I'm going to do the lacquer first, and then I'll do the satin Helmsman afterwards. So yeah, I'm going to do that off camera, and I'm going to do it right now. So I have 2 coats of lacquer on, and it's cloudy and breezy, but it's not raining at all. So I'm going to do a little bit of 4-aught steel wool and 2 more coats of lacquer, and then I'm going to bring them in and put them by the heater. It feels so pretty. I'm just barely touching it with the steel wool. I have to do some cleanup around there. So here's where we're ending the video today. Not much for staging. All I did was take off the plastic, and some of the tape left some stickiness on there, but I'm not going to start picking at it until these 3 coats of lacquer have had time to dry. So 3 or 4, I can't even remember. I will do one more sand down, just lightly, with the 4-rod steel wool, and then I will finish it with my helmsman. Now that's a really good finish for, people who want to bounce around on chairs, and they're going to be wiping them down, and things will spill on them, and you can see by the legs that, they get kicked around. So before the client takes them back, it will have had several coats of lacquer, and I'm not sure how many coats of helmsman urethane, maybe 2 or 3, I guess. It depends on what I can get for the weather. And last but not least, after that's totally dry, I will go over it with some nice Howard's beeswax and give it a really, really nice wax and polish. And I will clean up the, I'll be able to clean up, before I do the helmsman, I'll be able to clean up any tapes that are still stuck on there, make any final adjustments that I happen to come across with any of the dye pens. And I'll clean up the legs so that they look really nice. What I'll probably do is use a Restore finish on there, because all I want is for them to look fresh, okay? Clean and fresh. So here is where the splat was broken. And then I'll show you the chairs. Now, at this point, I'm not sure which chair is which, but many of them have had some deep scratches in them. Now, you can still see that there is a few. Some of it didn't come out, but boy, it looks a whole lot better. And hopefully they won't sit in these chairs with keys in their pockets anymore. Yeah. Really good. It looks really, really good. Love the backs. The splats are all beautiful looking. I'll show you what they looked like originally. I have to keep my finger there so the camera will focus. This is where it had all the buildup of grime. And you can see how nice they look now. So good, huh? Yeah. I mean, you can barely tell where the broken splat was. And I have to really search for it. Yeah. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. And if you want to see them after they're finally done, I will post a little Instagram update. So you can follow me on Instagram. It's just Owling Dog. And yeah, maybe I'll be able to get the customer's reaction when he sees them. Now, he's leaving the next 3 chairs, but I'm going to ask him not to bring those chairs until I'm going to be gone for a while at some point. So the other 3 chairs will be done in the meantime when I get back. So yeah, thank you again for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was good to work in the barn again and get some restoration done. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And I wish you all good and beautiful things. Take care.